this lecture, we're going to fill out the responder for the more log info command. Let's take a look at the man page for that command. And we can see that more log info works just like more check info and more user info. One of the main differences, though, is that more log info allows you to put in the file name of an existing compressed log, and then it will decompress it for you and spit out the JSON. Since we know we're going to be dealing with parsing these JSON strings, we're going to need the helper library that we created a while back. So let's include it up in our dependencies. Var helpers equals require / helpers. Now let's go back and fill out this responder. We're going to start by using the more check info function as a base. So we're going to paste that in here. The first thing we're going to do is get the log file name from the string, but we're still going to split on --. So rather than check ID, we're going to get log file name is the second element in the array after the split. And we're going to continue if there is a log file name, but the rest of this is going to be different. So we can get rid of everything in here. We want to start by putting in a vertical space. And then we want to decompress the log file. So we want to say logs.decompress. Remember the decompression function that we wrote here, but we never really tried out. We're trying it out now. So we're going to call logs decompress, and then we're going to pass it a log file name and expect back an error and string data, which should just be the string of the log. If there is no error and there is string data, we want to continue, otherwise we'll ignore it. The first thing we need to do is realize that the log is a whole bunch of individual JSON lines appended after each other, one after the other, with new line characters. And so in order to read out the output of this file, we need to first split it up line by line. So we are going to split into lines, which will put it into an array. We're going to say that this array, var r, is string data split, and we're going to split on this /n new line character. That's going to give us an array of strings. So we want to say array for each JSON string, because these are still individual JSON strings. Now for each one, we want to create an object from that string line. So var log object equals helpers, this is where the helpers class comes in, parse JSON to object, and we're going to pass it the JSON string. If we got an object back from that line, so if log object, and the stringified version of that object does not equal an empty object, then we want to continue. Now we want to use console.dir because we want to pretty print out this object. We're going to pass it log object and the configuration object telling it that colors are true. Lastly, we want to add a CLI vertical space. So now let's test out this function, which will in a way test out this decompression function at the same time. We're going to start the app back up. We're going to first list the logs. Then we're going to take one of these log file names. I'm just going to take the one at the top, and I'm going to say more log info -- and then that file name. As you can see, it spat out the uncompressed data from that log. If we look up this log file name in our file system, this is a base 64 and gzipped file. So our decompression function must be working fine because it's getting the JSON out of here. Now, in this case, there was only one line inside of this compressed log. So let's pick a larger log to use. I'm going to use this file name, which I happen to know is a much larger file. I'm going to enter the command again, more log info -- this file name, and we can see that it has 3 separate lines, which represent the 3 different lines inside of that file. We can see that it was, of course, for the same check, getting checked over and over again, and each time the state was up, and there was no need for an alert. So that is the complete functionality for our CLI tool. We've created several different commands that an admin might use in order to find out more information about the system or about the users or about the checks or any of the events that have happened in the past through the logs. And now we can move on to the section review to talk about all the different modules that we used in this section.